introduction, and thanks to all the panelists. And thanks to Dr. Vanaja for inviting me, and my good friend Dr. Kaveri also is in the panel, I think. So, without much delay, let me go into the topic. Okay, somebody has disabled my screen sharing. Can somebody enable my screen sharing, please?
Yeah, we're doing it.
So Dr. Gopinath has beautifully explained nicely about how things should be done in our part of the country. And I totally agree with that, because I am of opinion that anything and everything that we need to do with food has to be what we grow in our part of the world and not from the Western world or any other part of the world. So uh, can everybody see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So without further delay, let me get into the topics on principles behind various weight loss modalities. I specifically asked for this topic basically because there are thousands and thousands of opinions and suggestions and advices when it comes to weight loss. But they fail to address the whole thing holistically. So I wanted to take this topic to explain the principles behind each modality and an algorithm how we can go about in a very simplistic way. Of course, in detail, like what Gopinath said, when you talk about diet, then go to Dr. Gopinath to get the full details about how to get the diet thing done. Same way with comes to hormone issues, go to the endocrinologist. Similarly, if you want to do exercise, go to the physiotherapist. But then somebody has to holistically say what needs to be done. If you go to a dietitian, they say, no, I will move the mountains. If you go to a bariatric surgeon, I say, no, don't do anything. I will operate you. But we need very importantly to understand the scientific basis behind everything. And then, of course, an informed decision has to be taken. So with that, what I am going to, I think it's not moving forward. Hold on. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to have an overview on few topics, few of the modalities. So I will first talk about the body habitus, what exactly the body of Indian adult is like, and what are the modalities, their mechanisms, their results, and the tips. When it comes to body habitus, first thing we need to understand is Indians are different from the Westerners. I have given a scan, a HIDA scan and a CT HIDA combination scan of a Caucasian on the left-hand side and an Indian on the right-hand side. You see the BMI of both the person are the same. So they have the same weight, same height, and same BMI. But see the metabolism, the Westerner have a better metabolism than an Indian. And Westerner have less percentage of body fat than an Indian and very high muscle mass than an Indian. This is exactly the reason why Indians are more prone for diseases at a younger age, at a lesser BMI. So whatever we need to do when it comes to weight loss, we should have this in mind. This is a very interesting thing, what I call as a YY paradox. YY paradox again is something what we need to understand. So I did an experiment having me as well as my driver compared both. We have the same height, we have the same weight, we have the same BMI. But when we did our body composition analysis, what happened is I have lesser muscle mass and he has more muscle mass. I have more percentage body fat than him. I have lesser metabolic rate than him. Yet he looked more plump than me when you see a picture. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You need to understand what the body is made of. What is your metabolism? What is your muscle mass? What is your fat mass? What is the water content? All those things before we again decide on what is the right modality of treatment that should be given for a weight loss. Then we need to also understand something called a set point theory. What happens is with increased in calorie and slow down of the calorie burn, you put on weight. Once you go beyond a certain weight, what happens is these body will set a different point as a average weight, and it will be very difficult for you to lose weight below that average weight once you grow. For example, if you are 70 kilos, you have to be 70 kilos, you go 90 kilos, coming back to 70 kilos is not easy. For 75, maybe come down to 70 easily. If you go up to 80, 90, the body will set itself to 80 kilo as an average weight. So you can come down to 80, but it will be difficult to come down below 80. Then what happens after some time, you go up to 100, then it can come down to 90, it won't go below 90. So this is why the body sets itself into a different, basic average weight. That is why people tend to not lose weight when they go beyond a weight. So these are all the things we need to understand before we give a treatment option to the patients. So going into the different modalities, we have 6 major modalities which are helpful for a weight loss: diet, physical activity, behavioral changes, medications, cosmetic procedures, and bariatric surgery. So we'll go one by one on understanding what is the principle behind each. When you talk about dietary weight loss, calorie in and calorie out is a major thing that need to be analyzed to understand where we stand in the dietary weight loss. So how much of a calorie you take in and how much you spend out. Spend out is mostly by basal metabolic rate as well as by physical activities and a forced metabolism. Calorie intake will be analyzed by 24 hours dietary call by your dietitians. But there are certain principles we need to understand. When you talk about carbohydrates, each gram of carbohydrate gives you 4 calories of energy. And 65% of Indian food is carbohydrate. And the first point of energy, whenever you need energy to be utilized, carbs are the one that we need. Excess of carbohydrate gets stored in the body as fat. So you need to understand this to give your dietary counseling. When you talk about fat, it gives 9 kilocalorie per gram. 25% of Indian food has fat in it. But fat burns only after activity. So you have to have 20-30 minutes of activity before the fat starts burning. Whereas carbohydrate burns whenever we need energy. 25% only it's stored. Whereas all the 100% of carbs can be stored as fat, converted and stored as fat. When it comes to proteins, 4 kilocalorie per gram, similar to carbohydrates, but only 10% of any good normal Indian food has protein in it. And it burns very heavily during starvation. And again, 25% of it's only stored, rest of all are utilized for our bodybuilding. So when you talk about metabolism, even though we need all of them, so they produce heat, carbon dioxide, and water as a byproduct, which are excreted out. So based on these basic mechanisms, we need to understand and accordingly give dietary prescriptions. One more thing, what we need to understand is typical, like what Dr. Gopinath told us. Indians are better off with 2 meals a day, basically because of a gene called thrifty gene, a hypothesis posted by Dr. For ages, we developed a famine feast cycle in our food habit. That means we eat one meal, next meal we don't have a meal because we are a poor country, and then we have a next meal. Maybe we have, somebody will have only 1 meal a day, but most of them have 2 meals a day. We never had a 3 meal a day for almost close to around 10,000 of years. So the body weight is managed pretty well. Whereas now we have all 3 meals a day and we have over calories ourselves with so much of a in-between snacks as well. So this famine feast cycle is broken by a feast and a feast cycle. And that's why our body weight increases drastically. So Indians are better off in starving one meal than by trying to do a meal adjustments. Then comes the yo-yo diet. What we need to understand, what we call as a keto diet, paleo diet, and GM diet, which are all either a fat-based or only minerals and vitamin-based diet. But they are not the ideal diets because, as I told you before, you need carbohydrates for energy. If you don't give the energy, when you starve, muscles are burnt to get the proteins out of it for the calories to be burnt. If you exercise, then you burn fat. But if you don't exercise, then fat will be stored as well. So at the end of the day, what happened is muscles are burnt if you eat non-balanced diet. So you will lose weight, but that weight loss is a muscle loss. So if somebody comes and says, by dieting, I lost 5 kilos in 5 days, they're doing completely wrong. By diet, you should not lose more than 2 kilos to 4 kilos a month. If you not don't, if you are losing more than 1 kg a week, that means you are doing starvation where the muscle will be burnt. It has to be properly 4 kilos a month maximum by dieting alone. So there will be temporary loss, but then you have a rebound, and this rebound will be only fatty rebound, fat storage, and muscle will not grow because you are not doing much of exercise. So be careful with the yo-yo diets. These are again are all Western principles, which is completely wrong. So principle wise, how the weight loss diet for us should be low carbohydrates. Why? It will give a balance of your sugar signaling. So you control your sugar very well. And it is an anti-inflammatory as well. If you have less carbs, then there won't be any chance of storage of carbohydrates converted as fat in the body. You will help in weight loss. It can be high fat. That is why the paleo and keto diet survives. Why high fat is good hormonal functions and anti-inflammatory. It is a very good for immunity. And then weight loss happens with the high fat also because fat beyond 25% will not be stored. It will be excreted, but then it gives a good anti-inflammation and good immunity for your body as well. High protein is must because a good muscle and faster repair of the muscle will happen only if you have high protein diet, and it improves your metabolism very well. So a good muscular man will have a better metabolism than a slim man, lean man, and then it helps in weight maintenance. So with this in mind, for an Indian with a body habitus where we have less muscle and more storage of carbs in the body, we always recommend a high protein, normal fat, low carb, balanced diet for any Indian. So tips wise, if BMR, your metabolic rate, so once you analyze yourself, if metabolic rate is more than 1200 and normal muscle mass, that is for a man is 40 kilos, for a woman is 30 kilos, then diet will help very well in losing weight. 24 hours diet recall more than 1500 kilocalories if you're eating, then dieting will help you to lose more weight. So only in these parameters, diet alone will help you good ways. To add more, you can have fat burning foods also, of which what I want to concentrate is on only 8 of them. Rest of all are Western food, which I don't want to recommend. So almonds, eggs, fruit, grapefruits, green tea, chili, spinach and green vegetables, whole grains, legumes and beans are all fat burning foods, which can be had more in the food whenever you are eating proper dietary food. So this helps you to lose weight. And this is exactly are the principles based on which you should understand whether you do only dieting or you do anything else. As I told you, if you less than 1200 kilocalories, muscle mass is low, then you taking a dietary plan will not work well for you because it's only fat in the body and only muscle will be burnt for the calories. So you'll be losing a lot of good muscles and you'll rebound very badly. Then comes the mechanism of weight loss by exercises. Again, Diet and exercise are so related. It's all about calorie in and calorie out. Calorie in is managed by diet and calorie out is managed by the exercises and basal metabolic rate. When it comes to exercises, it helps us to burn adipose tissue, that is fat, as well as improves the vasodilatation, makes our heart functions much better and gives a long life. So they are all the key for weight maintenance. Weight loss, 80% is diet, 20% is exercise. But weight maintenance, 80% is exercise and 20% is diet. You can't keep dieting and then maintain your weight forever, which is impossible because body will start understanding yourself and it will start cheating you again. Fat burning starts at 30 minutes. So that means you need to exercise at least for 30 minutes. If at all you're doing for 10-20 minutes, it has to be a high intensity interval training. Unfortunately, high intensity interval training has a lot of stress on the heart, which I will not recommend much. So it will be either a cardio or a endurance exercise and not a HIIT in my opinion. And again, resistance exercises helps in muscle building. So if you have low metabolism, to improve your metabolism, add more resistance in your muscle building so that you build muscle, your metabolism improves. Then there is an increase in carbon dioxide expiration, which gives you much more energetic life to go ahead with yourself. And then enhanced endorphin secretion, which will make you feel so happy and so elated. You come back to your good health much faster. And that is why, say, doing some physical activity is very important in a part of a day. The commonest mistakes what people do while doing exercises is, first is exercising in a state of impaired insulin. Never ever exercise with empty stomach, because as I told you, with impaired insulin, there will be muscle loss when you do exercises and body will get much weaker as well. Then emphasizing on cardio rather than muscles again is a mistake. If you are obese, you have to mix both together, both cardio as well as strength training together. If you are fit, maybe you can look into strength exercises, but otherwise, doing only cardio to lose weight is not a great sign. Mistake number 3, stressing you during your workout. Any amount of stress, body will not metabolize well, body immunity goes down. So you should enjoy your exercise and not get stressed at all, which we commonly do. When a gym instructor comes, we want to look at the clock and say, okay, when is it 1 minute is getting over, when I can stop exercising. That kind of a thing should never be done. And mistake number 4, hydration. People don't hydrate. I see a lot of people who don't go to gym, who go to the gym without even carrying water bottle, and they don't hydrate themselves. You have to hydrate yourself. At least 600 ml to 1 liter of water for every 40 minutes of workout is very important, because you are going to perspire, you're going to lose water. You have to hydrate yourself well. Mistake number 5, again, focusing on a scale weight and not the body weight. As I told you, your body composition might be different. Don't just look into what is the weight in the scale. Look into your muscle mass, fat mass. Have the percentage of muscle to fat perfectly done than by just looking into weight. And again, inconsistent workout or the same exercises, repeating the same one, body will be smart. It knows that you are exercising again and again the same thing. So it will start conserving and not letting you lose the weight as well. There should be a cheating. So the body should be confused with the kind of exercise what you can do. That is why you change your group of exercises every now and then. This is very important to do all these things. And again, when it comes to weight loss for by the cardio, a lot of people say, I do jogging, but I'm not able to lose weight, or I'm not able to be fit enough. So you should know, sprinting is a body creator. That is, it is a strength exercise where it, even though it's a cardio, it will help you to build up. Whereas jogging is a body killer. It will make you more leaner. That's why you see long distance runners from Somalia and all are very good. They look very, very skinny. Whereas a sprinter will be from either a big African or a European. That's basically because they have built a lot of strong muscles. So a lot of hormones act which helps in this. So you should mix between a sprinting and a jogging if at all you're doing a cardio or running. You want to do running exercises. So the secret is you have to have high protein diets because proteins are necessary to build up muscle and repair the muscle as well. And mind it, Indians are deficient in proteins and Indians absorb less proteins. 20% protein absorption is less in Indians than the Westerners. For this reason, normally they recommend, WHO recommends 60 gram of proteins. Indians require 80 gram of proteins. And unfortunately, plant proteins, their bioavailability is very low. Even though they have similar good proteins available in them, their bioavailability is very low. That means your body absorbs only 30 to 40% of the plant proteins, whereas it absorbs 80% of your animal protein. So that is where there is a benefit if you are a non-vegetarian over a vegetarian diet. So high protein diet, if you're vegetarian, you can try to look into some supplements, which is not wrong. But again, let the supplements be a natural plant source supplements mostly, which can enhance your protein absorption. And again, low carb and low fat and high protein are the diet which need to do along with the workout. And if you have good muscle mass, do a lot of cardio, you will lose good weight. If you have poor muscle mass, do a lot of strength exercises, you lose some fat as well as you improve metabolism and you lose weight. If a muscle is normal, then do a combo of cardio and strength together. This is very important. And people say just go and do jogging and running. You should understand your body and accordingly work out. And of course, always warm up before exercises because we don't want to have an injury, and add variety to your routine. Do not think that 4 days, 5 days is enough, and the weekends be lazy and sit on the couch and eat everything. You lose all the benefits what you did for the last 4 5 days. And of course, weight training is a must. Swimming is one of the best exercises, in my opinion. If you ask, yoga and swimming as a daily routine might be an amazing thing for your body. And always, if you want to exercise regularly, exercise in a group. And I always say, you start with the yoga and end up with the meditation after every exercise is always going to give the best results. Then comes a behavioral change. There are times people say that how can behavioral change help you to lose weight? Next few slides will tell you. Outdoor activity, simple house activity will help you to burn up to 500 kilocalories per day. You go and play with your kids, small activities. You go for cycling, you do some, go to the park and carry your stuff with you, run around, help yourself in the kitchen or clean your house. Small stuff. You can lose up to 500 kilocalories a day, which equals to around 20,000 steps. A good sleep and not getting stressed improves your metabolism, stabilizes your hormone, and improves your performance. So there are 4 beautiful hormones as given here, which are very helpful in which are very helpful in working with a healthy body: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. We need dopamine to have a good pain relief, and it's a reward hormone, we call it. Whenever you do good exercise and everything, it is so much of a happiness by secreting a lot of dopamine. And endorphin again is a very good pain relief. Whenever you do regular exercises and you go out with friends and family and a lot of good healthy dark chocolates and stuff like that you eat, you have a lot of endorphin, which helps you to be happy and pain free as well. And serotonin helps in your mood very well. A good yoga therapies and then practicing something very new every time will help you to increase the secretion of serotonin. And oxytocin again, a good brilliant conversation with friends and going out with and helping people and all will help you to increase oxytocin. Again, love making, hugging, and friends, relatives, having a great family life, all those things helps oxytocin as well. So these are all the hormones that increase with a good behavioral changes. And we all know how the millennials behave. We don't use steps, we use escalators. In the gym, more than working out, we go and sit and watch your iPad, iPhone, or just sit and do nothing. We will be couch potatoes. We work from home in the name of Corona. We have become more obese in the last few years, couple of years. And again, more sedentary in office, 8 hours, 10 hours, with a good access to food, 24 hours. We are spoiled for choices of food as well. And we end up having a lot of unhealthy food, which Dr. Gopinath has been explaining for almost a year. I mean, for almost an hour. So what happens is this kind of a behavior is not good. So see the calorie count, what a 30-minute normal behavioral change in activity which can help you. By sitting, you spend 30 kilocalories in 30 minutes. But just standing, you spend 60 kilocalories. That is double the amount. By just doing some small stretches here and there, you spend 90 kilocalories in 30 minutes. Doing a shopping, 120 kilocalories. 30 minutes of going shopping, 120 kilocalories you spend. A good walking, you spend 120 kilocalories. House cleaning for 20-30 minutes, 120 kilocalories. Playing with a kid, 150 kilocalories. Gardening, 300. Running, 270. See, gardening gives much more energy loss than jogging for half an hour. And helping others, 200 kilocalories. Cycling, 250. Sports, 250. Walking up the steps is 300. And of course, making love gives you up to 150 kilocalories in 20-30 minutes. So try to do some behavioral change within your life and do few of the activities here. You will easily end up losing 500-600 calories without even trying to work on dieting or exercises alone. So that is exactly why we say make some behavioral changes. Our recommendation will be break up workouts throughout the day. That means at office, sitting in the chair itself, do some stretching, do some moving around, go to the next table instead of using the intercom, walk up the steps, walk down the steps once, twice in between, go to the loo and do some stretching exercise there, sit-ups there. So these are small things which can use to improve your metabolism. And again, learning a sport is always good. Nowadays, I think we have the futsal and shuttles everywhere. It's just growing up in Chennai. Nice to see those things happening now. But learn a sport. Of course, eating on time is very important. That's a most important behavior change that need to do along with the sleep. Eat on time, have a breakfast like a king, lunch like a executive, and dinner like a pauper, I say. Have more of a carbs in the morning so that carbs are burnt by the evening. Have more protein in the night so that the repairs happen very good in the night. You will not gain anything and you will lose at least 1 or 2 kilos by just changing this behavior alone. Again, a lunchtime walk is very good. Use stairs and not lifts. Sleep well for 6 to 8 hours. It improves your metabolism. A lot of hormonal things, good melatonin will help you peacefully sleep, reduce your screen time. You will be less stressed in the whole day. And of course, learn to de-stress yourself. The more stressed, again, metabolism comes down. A lot of hormone issues are there. So do this kind of a behavioral changes which help you to lose good amount of weight. Putting all these three together, diet, exercise, and behavioral change, we call them lifestyle changes. So food is the most abused anxiety drug in the name of depression, in the name of happiness. We misuse food big time. Of course, exercise is the more underutilized antidepressant. A good exercise, you feel so elated, all the happy hormones surge into you. You feel so elated and so worthy of living when you do exercise regularly. Of course, behavior changes will make you live longer. I would say it's the most ignored anti-aging fad. And as a whole, lifestyle improves quality and longevity. So you have to improve your lifestyle no matter what management you do. This first line of management, the healthy lifestyle has to be changed. No other go. What is the data on this line of management? Unfortunately, if you are very obese, if you're more than 30-40 kilos, 90% of them fail. And on average, 10 kg weight loss in the long term is achieved by these ways, basically because you get back to your unhealthy lifestyle after some time. Only 10% of them achieve the expected weight. So 1 in 10 succeeds in their goal and stays there. 50% of the people who lost weight regain their weight again. However, it is the only proved method of weight management for a long-term weight loss, no matter what kind of a plan you use. So whether you like it or not, whether it is successful or not, you have no choice. but to take care of your diet, exercise, and behavioral changes. That's very important. Then let us come to the next level. If you're not able to lose enough, or you have anything else, like for example, you see hormonal problems, or you see problems where the diet is not helping you, exercise is not helping you, you still are gaining weight, then comes the medical weight loss. So there are three mechanisms on which medicines work. One is called appetite suppressants, where it reduces your hunger, metabolism boosters, which improves your metabolism, and fat burners, which burns the fat more. So appetite suppressants reduce your hunger and enhances fullness. You feel full very early, and of course there is no much of a hormone trigger, so not much of a side effects with this. So these are all the medicines which are useful for anybody, even the pediatric age group, young adults, young people also can have this. But the side effects are weakness and depression. When it comes to metabolism boosters, it improves the metabolism, increases the heat production, and it triggers the hormones, causing insomnia and agitation. Fat burners either burns fat or reduces absorption of fat, promotes usage of fat, and increases the metabolism. This also triggers hormones, and side effects are of diarrhea and irritability. At the end of the day, you see depression, agitation, and irritability. At the end, every weight loss medications make you feel depressed. You feel a bit bad about what you're doing. That is the reason why you always add medicines to your lifestyle change and just not believe in medicines to lose weight. Of course, if there is any hormonal issues, hormonal medicines has to be there administered for your deficiencies. So as I told you, weight loss medicines work only with lifestyle changes. Use prescription medicines than over-the-counter medicines, because over-the-counter medicines are not FDA approved medicines, which might give you a lot of trouble, like renal problems, cardiac problems, plenty happens. So there are people who died because of cardiac arrest after medications. There are people who died because of renal failures. So you have to be careful about medications. And of course, if you believe only in medicine, there is 100% rebound of weight gain if the pills are stopped. So it has to be along with some other modalities. And injectable works well with morbidly obese and diabetic, where there are new generation of weight loss and anti-diabetic injections, which helps in good weight loss. But of course, the more longer you use medicines, the more detrimental is to your health. So these are all short-lived medicines between 3 and 6 months, which are useful only to enhance your weight loss, not as a only source of weight loss. Lifestyle management is very important to help in these kind of cases. Then we have mechanism of cosmetic weight loss, where we have next three principles in them. One is fat burners, which companies like VLCC and Kaya and all utilizes, where they use different modalities to burn fat, and they reduce the fat volume, giving instant results and useful for body contouring to shape the body. Of course, pain and bruises are side effects, which are not very worrisome. Liposuction is another cosmetic surgery which sucks the fat out of the system. This also reduces fat volume. Instant results used in body contouring, pain, clotting, and infection can be a possibility. Apron removal, or what we call tummy tuck, or abdominoplasty, or any other parts removed along with the skin, they reduce the fat and the skin, gives instant results, a good weight loss, and also for body contouring. The first two are for contouring, not exactly a weight loss, but third is for contouring. But all in all, the cosmetic surgery, how it helps is, it might help only in a little bit of weight loss, but it gives you a high. For example, if you have a breast engorgement in a male, you do liposuction and then make the breast flat, you tend to feel good by looking at you naked in the mirror, and that will motivate you to lose more. For women, take love handles, abdomen out, they'll be feeling more happy, and they might also encourage themselves to lose more weight by diet, exercise, and other means. So that is how this motivates in weight loss, but they are not a per se a weight loss concept. So cryo, laser, or the type of or electrical impulse, a type of the wave where the slimming clinics use to burn the fat. Total of 2 to 3 kilos is burnt at one sitting. Then, as I told you, they reduce the fat volume by evaporation or cryoprecipitation. Whereas liposuction takes and tummy tuck takes care of 4 to 6 kgs of fat in the body, and tummy tuck will help to remove some skin as well. These two put together, medical management and cosmetic management, form the second line of management. Prescription medicines, as I told you, complements lifestyle changes. So don't do prescription medicine without the patient opting for a lifestyle change as well. Slimming clinics concentrate on dissolving fat cells. So it has to be a choice only for body contouring when you need you are lean, but you have a love handle or arms are more, only to shape your body, not for weight loss. Again, over-the-counter supplements help to burn fat or reduce hunger. Cosmetic surgery contours the body by removing fat and skin. That again, it's a body contouring procedure mostly and not exactly a weight loss procedure. What does the data say on that? A maximum of 1 to 2 kilos achieved by slimming clinics, 30% weight loss if you add lifestyle changes along with it, more than 50% if you had some motivation, adequate motivation along with it. So that's good. Up to 50% can be lost if you have motivation and some kind of a medicines and again lifestyle changes. If you have a cosmetic surgery along with it, 6 to 8 kgs can be lost, and 10 to 15 kilos overweight individuals, it helps beautifully, but the rebound weight regain is up to 70% in most of the cases of a second line management. So as long as you don't do a lifestyle changes, you may revert back. So 90% can fail if it is a morbid obesity by lifestyle changes alone. 70% will fail in morbid obesity if you do first and second line management. Then comes bariatric surgery. Of course, it is the last resort. The mechanism are by three: by ingestion, satiation, and malabsorption. Ingestion means it restricts the eating, whereas it also gives discomfort for high calorie food. So you will tend to go towards more healthy eating, and very helpful in volume eaters. They cause nausea and vomiting if you overeat. Then the second principle is satiation, that is a feeling of fullness. You will not have any desire to eat. This also helps in volume eaters. And of course, you will not be that hungry, so you might have some kind of deficiencies later, and then a lot of discomfort because of this kind of a satiation feeling. Then comes the third important part for resolution of diseases called malabsorption. So it aids in incomplete digestion of the food and reduces the storage of fat as well. And so it helps in any eaters, any calorie eaters, even they eat less, but they genetically or hormonally very bad in their body habitus, still surgery can help you. And of course, discomfort is again a big problem in the malnutrition, and then it will give a lot of steatorrhea, that smelly stools and all those kind of things. Various bariatric procedures include endoscopic balloon, then laparoscopic sleeve gastrectomy. In the balloon, we put a balloon inside the stomach so that it fills half the stomach. The rest of the half only food can be used. A sleeve gastrectomy is cutting a 500 cc stomach into a 100 cc stomach and remove 400 cc, so you eat less. Endoscopically, there can be sleeve as well. Then laparoscopically, do a bypass procedure. There are plenty of bypass procedures where some procedures we can eat only 25 cc. There are some procedures we can eat 150 cc. Depending upon a lot of parameters, there are various techniques of bypasses which are also useful. The biggest benefits of bariatric surgery are it resolves diabetes by 83%, heart rate by 82%, BP by 92%, joint problem, arthritis by 76%, acidity by 98%, sleep apnea by 98%, asthma by 82%, fatty liver or liver diseases by 90% is resolved. Infertility and period issues are resolved by 100%. Urinary incontinence comes down by 88%. Migraine by 57%. depression by 55, gout by 77, and a venous ulcer and stasis by 95%, with the improvement in quality of life up to 95%. And the best part is your life expectancy, which is lost in a morbidly obese, has been gained back. 10 to 15 years of life is lost when you are morbidly obese, which is reversed back after bariatric surgery, which we call the third line of management. So endoscopy is chosen for a moderate obesity who are 20 kilos, 15 kilos overweight. Surgery is indicated for weight gain more than 35 kgs. And bariatric surgery is the only proven long-term weight loss when other modalities fail. And then we have something called metabolic surgery for resolution of diabetes. Even if you are not obese, you can resolve diabetes by these surgeries. What does the data say on the third line management? Up to 90% of excess weight is lost by this management, and up to 40% of total weight loss. Excess weight of 90%, but total weight loss of 40%. There is a 15% chance of nutrition deficiency because we do a lot of surgeries in the stomach and reduction, restriction, and all are there. Malabsorption is there. 15% chance of nutritional deficiencies which need to be addressed. And of course, it can be done minimal access by laparoscopy, robotics, or a single incision surgery. Weight regain is up to 20% in long term, though 5% is an average, and a complication is less than 10% of cases with mortality of 0.4 in 100, makes it one of the safest surgical option for a patient who otherwise having a life-threatening comorbidities. That is why bariatric surgery should be recommended only for people at the end stage, not it is starting as a cosmetic one. It cannot be done as a cosmetic one. Putting all together, we arrive at a weight loss algorithm. If you are obese, if you are up to 20 kilos overweight, your diet is not bad. Your calorie, you are dieting well, 100,200 calories only you are eating, but your metabolism is very low. Then there could be a possibility of a hormonal problem or some kind of a period issue. Some hormone issues are there, or could be genetical problem. Consult a doctor. After consulting a doctor, then go for the first line management, which is a lifestyle modification. Whereas if your metabolic rate is good, you just overeating, diet is too heavy, then you can continue straight away start first line of management of lifestyle therapy. If that fails, then you can go to second line management, which is medicines or a cosmetic one. Don't need to do anything beyond that. If you are 20 to 40 kilos overweight, if you have problems like sugar, BP, you have to consult a doctor. Start on first line therapy. If it fails, go to second line therapy. If that fails, you can go to third line therapy, which is surgery. If you have comorbidity and diet is more than 1200, that you all know that you already overeating, you can straight away get into a second line therapy. Of course, you must be consulting a doctor for your diseases. If you are more than 40 kilos overweight, then we recommend third line, that is a surgical therapy, because invariably you are in a state where your lifespan comes down. You have a life-threatening scenario sometimes, like uncontrolled sugar, cardiovascular problem, sleep apnea, those kind of things could be there along with it. So we will recommend a third line therapy in this kind of a patients. So this algorithm gives an idea about each principles, and through that you have to find out how we are going to manage yourself. To recap, don't skip meals. The biggest mistake is skipping meals. Again, skipping meals means you can have 2 meals a day, but don't try to starve in the name of dieting. If you're not staying hydrated, you lose all the energy and electrolytes. You will not have energy for normal work. Your metabolism goes down. And going through stress, again, metabolism comes down. Relying on low fat and diet foods are totally wrong. It should be a balanced diet, high protein, low carb, normal fat diet is very important for your day. And again, not consulting a doctor is very, very wrong. If you have problems of weight gain and you're not able to lose good enough, consult a doctor to understand. And again, as I told you before, relying only on exercise is very dangerous. It has to come along with the dieting. And of course, overindulging on the weekends is wrong. This is the most commonest mistake people do. 4 days, they are very seriously working out. dieting. Weekends, they drink and eat so much, they completely nullify whatever they did. Don't follow all these things. Then you can get a help of a dietitian, a gym guy, or a behavioral therapy, or an image consultant, or a physician or a surgeon based on the needs beyond that. This is how better to learn the principle and work on your weight loss accordingly.